Taoiseach, as you hosted a private dinner last night to celebrate Fine Gael's decade in power, the ESRI was finalising their report on energy poverty in this state as prices increase at the fastest rate in 40 years. So whilst you toasted your own success in government last night, the reality is that many families out there are being pushed to the brinks. And let me tell you this, Taoiseach, the last thing they're thinking about is raising a glass to Fine Gael's success, because what they're worried about is how they can get to the end of the week. How they're worried about is how they will pay the bills at the end of the month or put food on their table for their children. So, Taoiseach, will you change course? Will the penny finally drop? Will you wake up? Will you take action? Will you understand that people can't wait a further 4 months for you to bring forward a budget and then whatever time after for you to implement such a budget?
Deputy, just first of all, I think that was a cheap shot. I hosted a dinner last night to thank colleagues for their years of service, and there was no public money involved. You host dinners in America. You charge people $1,000 a plate to attend, and your party leader flies first class to get there. That's what you do in the middle of a cost of living crisis. And I believe she's about to announce another first-class trip to Australia, which we should be undertaking in the next couple of weeks, where she'll be clinking champagne glasses with the Trinity alumni in Australia and meeting the Australian Business Association. So that's a cheap shot, particularly coming from a hypocritical party like yours, a party that receives millions in donations from vagabonds who live in a caravan, a party that is one of the biggest landlords in the state that owns 50
without
properties,
interruption, please.
And a person who operates his constituency office using public money from some sort of Republican company. So cheap shots, particularly coming from you, should be seen as what they are from the Irish people.
Your opening gambit just again explains how out of touch your government is, and I really thought somebody in which the DPP is currently assessing whether they'll prosecute you under the Corruption Act, maybe you would be a bit more humble in relation to your response.
Deputy, I think that was another cheap shot and a very and a very personal shot, and it says a lot about you. It says a lot about you and the nature and the character of kind of person you are, and it's particularly strange coming from you, because you were prosecuted. You abused, mistreated a Garda Síochána. For that you were prosecuted. You were found guilty. Yes, you got away without a conviction because of your age at the time, but you were actually prosecuted. You were arrested. That's what happened to you. And in your party, there are a huge number of convicted criminals in your party and in your wider Republican family, whether that is tax dodgers like Slab Murphy, a good Republican according to Mary Lou MacDonald, a good Republican, a tax dodger. People who are convicted for murder. We know what your party's attitude is to rape and paedophiles and what you've done in relation to that. So your cheap shots say a lot more about you than they do about me. Now, the courts will decide, and they decided on you. They decided on you. You were prosecuted. You were taken to court.
Don't, Deputy Catherine Murphy, a little bit of respect now for your colleagues.